My next guest joining me tonight comes all the way from New York City. I'd like you all to welcome Matt and Dave to the show. They are both members of the band Enziguri. How are we doing tonight, guys?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, doing good. Can't complain on my end. How are things in New York right now?
Things are good. Yo, sick. That was dope. I'm over at the Drogzek skate park. My boy just busted out a sick 50-50 grind. Things are good, man.
Show us something good. Show us a kickflip. Do a kickflip.
Yo, you want to do a kickflip?
Turn it around. Show it. You're going to be on the fucking internet, kid.
We've been here all morning, man.
Well,
yeah, it's hot out.
All right. So.
There it is.
Yeah, go.
You got to talk so it switches over. Keep talking on your camera, Dave.
Talking?
Yep.
Whoop.
Keep talking. Do it. Oh!
Pressure the camera.
Pressure.
Yeah.
You know, tens to
hell yeah,
millions
yo, that
of
was
people.
dope.
You know, ones to millions of people. You know, could be one person watching, could be a
Follow
million
Fart Violent
watching that fail.
Skateboards on Instagram.
Yeah.
So, for those who have not heard of Enziguri, what do you guys do?
We play hardcore punk rock from New York City. We recently, because of the COVID shit, had a lot of tours and shows canceled and postponed, like every band. And so Walter, our drummer, is finally back in the U.S. from Argentina, and hopefully we can get back to work on practicing. I think Matt has like a full album's worth of riffs ready to go for a new record. So
awesome. Now, Enziguri, that's a pretty unique name. I was not familiar with what it was until Matt told me. But what is an Enziguri?
So it's a wrestling move. Matt, you want to tell him?
Yeah. So I joined the band and had to ask how to pronounce it because I didn't know what it was, and apparently it's a wrestling maneuver, which I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, is basically just like when you kick someone in the side of the head.
Yep.
So
it's a reverse maneuver where you catch someone's foot, and then with your caught foot, you use it as leverage to spin kick somebody in the side of the head.
Yeah.
Dude, I see that in UFC all the time.
Yeah.
Really?
That is a constant transfer just to get out of there. Oh,
yeah.
Sick.
No, that's cool. I know what it is now. I know what it is. That's fucking awesome. That's a kick to the head.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Which works for a band name if you're a hardcore band,
absolutely.
I guess.
For a hardcore band, it's fucking perfect. It's perfect.
In the beginning, I think we were between Enziguri, Haymaker, and Sucker Punch.
Yeah.
Well, there's already Cock Punch, which is pretty good. I mean, Sucker Punch is good, but Cock Punch is kind of nailed it perfectly on that. I think you honestly picked the best of the three. I think Enziguri is the one that I would have gone with too. It's obscure, it's unique, and people got to ask about it. And that's I like names like that.
Thank you.
And people might have confused us for Floor Punch, which
Floor Punch
might not have gone so well when I was at the bar. But like, aren't you guys in a straight edge band? Like, no.
Or Drywall Puncher.
Drywall Puncher.
Featuring all the Kyles.
Yeah, all the Kyles and Chads.
Sponsored by Mountain Dew and Monster Energy Drink.
Yeah.
So, how long have you guys been doing this for?
So this is actually the fifth official year of Enziguri as a band. We've been playing since 2015. We dropped the self-titled EP 2015. We were gonna, try to press the self-titled on vinyl to push it out for the 5-year anniversary, but that might have to be like a 6-year anniversary thing in 2021. And Matt's been in the band. Matt, you've been in the band for like pretty much the whole time, right? At this point, 3 years.
Yeah, I think
4
it's
years?
3 years. Because I remember playing. I joined the band to play the record release show.
Oh, wow.
So they got
Uptown, right?
Yeah, for Uptown. So they had the EP and they recorded a full-length Uptown Boogie Down, and then their bass player left, and I messaged them, hit them up, and was like, hey, saw the ad you guys put out. He's like, all right, cool. Went in, practiced. They're like, all right, awesome. Like, you got the gig. So learn the whole record because we haven't played our release show yet. And I think I played one show, which was good as like a warm-up, and then like a hometown record release show at a place in the Bronx.
I was going to say it was like a trial by fire hometown record release show.
Yeah.
Like hey, welcome to the band. Here's our crazy friends.
Yeah. we're
You
in the
got
Bronx.
6 days.
Yeah, in the Bronx, in this like dive bar that used to do like punk and hardcore shows. Where it's
Yeah.
like, all right, cool. Like I'm really gonna have to put my work in and learn all this because it was. I mean, that's a pretty long record for like a punk record. Like there's some
Uptown,
longer songs. Yeah, there's longer songs, and it's like 14 tracks. It was a good amount of stuff to learn.
That's
so just
pretty long for a
sitting
punk
in my
record.
apartment, just like every day, like all right, we'll play through the record again because I don't want to screw this up in the Bronx at my second show ever.
No, you killed it, kid.
So obviously, Matt plays guitar, and Dave, what do you do in the band?
Matt plays bass.
Oh,
Matt's
bass,
the bass meister.
Bass,
No
yeah.
guitar.
But if you watch the video that we posted for The Wolves You Feed, he plays guitar and bass because he actually wrote it on guitar. So
Oh, nice.
cool.
Very cool.
me, I sing or I shout, and I rile people up. That's mainly like my goal. And the band for me has been super therapeutic. It's been, everything that I needed to get out or felt or was dealing with, like periods of my life. This band has helped me, express that. So I'm very grateful to have it.
And I think that's what, for most of us, I mean, especially in the metal and punk and hardcore community, I mean, it's absolutely therapeutic. If you're not a part of that community, you don't understand how that aggression is a positive release. And even physical aggression, on the floor and stuff like that, it comes from a place of love. I'm
Always,
all
yeah. I
set
love
with the fucking wall workers and the hate moshers out there. I fucking lost half my face to that shit.
Yeah,
I
crowd
hate
bashing is
them.
my least favorite activity.
Yeah, I fucking hate wall workers. Just keep it on the fucking pit. I mean, if you're stage diving, that's one thing. But, dude, just going out there to hate mosh, I can't stand it anymore,
Nah, yeah.
It's all about, taking care of each other. I mean, go out there, have some fun. You're going to get hurt a little bit. Man, make sure you pick
Totally.
each other
And
up.
also, get that aggression out, but do it with a bunch of people that are doing the same thing and people that would pick you up if you fell down, not stomp you out.
And that's the thing, is what a lot of people don't understand is that it doesn't come from, like, a malicious place. I mean, with some people, a very small minority of individuals going to shows, yeah, they're coming with it with malicious intent, absolutely,
Right.
But usually those are the guys that, they'll get clocked out and then they'll get taken outside and then the rest of the show is fun.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, luckily, I mean, not luckily, you could look at it however you want, but like growing up and playing in bands in the tri-state and even up to like Boston and New England, it's like people got a little bit of a different vibe going in the Northeast. So usually those people are dealt with rather efficiently and quickly. It's like not there's a lot of not here vibes going on at shows.
Oh,
especially
absolutely. Like this, you'll see that and be like, none of that shit, not in our community. But like, it's the type of show I want to be able to bring my little brother. Or as we get older, I want to be able to bring my kid out to a show,
Yeah.
Put on some headphones for him, protect the ears, but still, the same community. When I was 11, 12, 13 years old, going out to my very first shows, and there was somebody like me, my age, you're like, no, young blood, come here. I got you.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah.
I'm keeping an eye on you, and we're all keeping an eye on you because we're a community, and I think that's coming back in a little bit, and I think especially after all of this shit right now, I think the bonds are going to be that much more united, and
Absolutely.
what I'm hoping for is to see a resurgence back in mixed genre shows, because I think personally it's gotten a little too stagnant. We're like, oh, here's just
The last
hardcore
show that we got to play
Oh yeah.
was with Sly Coop and who? Matt,
It was Enziguri. It was a hip hop versus hardcore show. So it was Enziguri,
Sly
and then
Coop
Sly
from
Coop.
Dope Rebels.
Yeah, and then our buddy's band Ache, that's a little more like real heavy. And then the headliner was Cool Keith.
Yeah, Cool Keith, Dr. Octagon himself.
So it's like we're like hanging out at this venue in Brooklyn, and we played first and like set the night. Like, all right, hardcore first, Cool Keith's gonna close. And I just remember like walking back into the showroom from like the front bar area, like went to get a beer, came in the room, and Cool Keith like came on stage as I was getting a drink, and just walk into the room, and he's wearing like a mink and these big sunglasses, and there's like I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. Like,
that's fucking awesome.
This is insane.
Yeah.
Yo, it really for like an hour, just nonstop, like little bit of like bullshitting banter, but besides that, it was just like an hour of Cool Keith, like.
It really inspired me to like have mixed shows because we were looking into doing like a 2 hardcore, 2 like reggae band show in the Bronx like once, but like it was supposed to happen in like April, but then everything got like wiped away. But yeah, like dude, I'm with you on mixed shows.
Well, absolutely that, and maybe it's just me, but I'm not getting any younger. And honestly, like 7 like back-to-back like ramp-up bands, like I gotta take a break these days.
Totally,
Yeah.
Again, I'm not even a dad, but I'll be fucking just.
Yeah.
Oh god, find me the closest fucking chair I could get.
Yeah, those long. There's some shows that you go to, like, how many bands are playing? Like, I like them all, but I'm exhausted. Like, but
I think the mixed genre ones, it makes it go by a little bit faster, honestly, because you're like, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna throw down for this band, and then I'm gonna go and I'm gonna just check out this band because they're super technical.
Yeah, definitely.
Close. You almost had it that time.
Yeah, it's and like I mean, in New York City, it's like super easy to do that. It's just a matter of who's going to put it together. Yeah, because it's tough. It's a lot of venues or promoters will be like, well, I just want to book a punk show because that's what the show's going to be. But if it actually, I feel like would make things easier to like pack a room, because you're like, all right, people come for say Enziguri, and then people come for, like Dave said, like a reggae band.
Love is a Fist, or like the RBNX, something like that.
Yeah, and have like a skate punk band, a hardcore band, and also just like from the band's point of view is like I grew up listening to like I grew up in Rockland County, New York, which is the suburbs like north of New York City, and it's like grew up going to like hardcore shows and punk shows, but then also go to shows like there's plenty of like singer songwriter like acoustic things that you're like, oh, this is nice to like listen to someone who wrote like very intricate music. And like appreciate that instead of just nothing but like banging your head against the wall. Because sometimes
which is good and all. When that was fine. When I was younger. But now, honestly, as I get older, I'm not ashamed to admit, but I want something more.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta have a little bit of everything. You can't listen to all one thing.
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
Yeah, the last concert I got to go to before COVID canceled everything, I went to go see Lucero. It was and I was like, this is great. It was like hung out. It was like in this place in Jersey that's like this big old music hall that they redid, and like it was all bands like that. It was 3 bands, nice quick night. But like I remember just watching Lucero and thinking about like, this COVID thing's getting a little crazy, but these are the kind of nights I need once in a while. Like a Friday night, it's like drink a few beers, everything's mellow, like, and then go home and like not feel like you got like hit by a truck. Because somebody got punched in the side of the head a few times. You're like, enough.
Dave, what's the last show that you went to?
The last show that I went to, I believe. I mean, it's not really a show, but I went to see Kevin Smith.
Oh yeah, the Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes tour. Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, they were taking the James on Bob reboot movie on a road show. That's the last thing I went to see. In like early March, and then by March 20th, everything here was shut down in the city.
Completely shut down. Did you like the movie?
I thought it was dope. I thought it was great. I was happy to see Jason Lee and like a bunch of people back. I love the View Askew universe. I grew up on it.
Same here. That was like what was saying, like when going down to Asbury and going down like to the Stowed Pony and stuff. Going to Kevin's comic book shop was huge. Getting assigned a table and hang out and just see some of the things there. Huge Kevin Smith fan. Kevin, if you're watching, check your email.
We love you.
I've sent you like 3 emails, Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes. I want you on the show. It's no joke.
Show some Jersey love, Kevin Smith.
Yeah, straight up. Come on, let's show some
I gotta ask, on your crazy drive down to see NoFX, you were saying earlier, did you stop at the Quick Stop?
I did not get a chance to stop at the Quick Stop.
Oh, what kind of fan are you,
next time I come in.
Next time you come in, it's anytime we're going down the shore for something, like my buddy came home to visit from LA. We were going to Asbury Park. I'm like, well, if you need anything, I know a place we can stop. And he's like, oh, it's still really a store? I'm like, yeah, it's still a convenience store. And then they have like memorabilia up all around the edge of the store of like photos from when they were filming. So they kind of embrace it. And now if you go down there, Kevin Smith actually bought so the convenience store is on the very end of the building, and he's starting a podcast studio on the other side of the building.
Oh,
Really?
that's awesome. So that's where he's going to be doing his smodcasting?
Yeah. So and like
No
all the,
way,
like,
dude. He lives in California.
yeah, but he has like the comic book guys will do their podcasts out of
I was
there.
gonna say it's gonna be like that studio, a shared universe that the comic book guys co-own.
Yeah. So he's gonna move everything to there, and it's right next door to the quick stop, which is hilarious.
To the quick stop.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So we're talking. So obviously, we all grew up on Kevin Smith. You mentioned kind of growing up, Matt, in kind of an eclectic area, getting different influences. What were some of your earliest influences musically that kind of inspired you to head where you are now?
So I'm 35. So when I was like getting a guitar in the mid to late 90s, growing up in Rockland, like I said, you get dragged to New York City by like friends' older brothers a lot. And I remember it was very interesting because some of the stuff I look back on and was like, wow, I can't believe I didn't get like 15-year-old me getting dragged to like an E-Town Concrete show. I'm like, I don't know how I made it out alive. Like, but yeah, but I listened to a lot of like West Coast skate punk was having that huge resurgence. So when I was learning to play guitar, I was just playing to like NoFX, Pennywise, Bad Religion, Melancholy, like all like you got into skateboarding and you got the first like 2 Fat Records comps, and you were like, all right, I'm just gonna buy every album on here and just listen to that. But at the same time, like friends' older brothers bringing us to Brooklyn to see like and Jersey because we lived right on the border in New Jersey. Going to see like I remember going to a show. It's like E-Town Concrete, God Forbid, and like Dog Eat Dog.
Dog
like,
Eat Dog, Dan Nastasi, Kings Never Die. Shout out.
Yeah, and like just being like 14, 15 years old, like friends' older brothers, like, yo, here's a 40 and finish it before we go inside, and then just like keep your head on a swivel and being like, oh, okay, this is how this goes. And like, yep. And since then, it's been, I've played in all types of bands just because from that, it was like, oh, cool, what else is out there? And then like got into like, heavy metal bands. I went kind of backwards. Like everyone listens to heavy metal and then they find like underground hardcore bands. I kind of knew about like went to go see like Sick of It All, Madball, all the New York City bands, and then was like, oh, you guys like Metallica? That's cool. Like Metallica's pretty neat. But being like growing up around here, it's just like, oh yeah, get dragged to a show and you saw bands, in the late 90s as like a teenager who had like were known but hadn't like blown up yet. Like you see like the first like go in like the late 90s go to see like, oh, who's this band who are we going to see? Scarhead? And then it's like, oh, we're going to see Scar. And then like years later it's like, playing shows in the city and like running into like Danny and all those dudes. You're like, still doing it, huh? Like, hell yeah. Like I hope to aspire.
Hardcore superstar.
Yeah. So I looked at that and that's kind of cool because you're like, oh, you can be in your 30s, 40s, whatever, and still kind of do this, especially
absolutely.
Mostly, there's so many good young bands in New York City, but the old timers are still rocking it, so it's a fun mix.
I'm 35 as well, and we come from that age group, but you come from an area where there is a fucking mecca of who's who from the 90s all the way up of some of the most influential bands in punk, metal, and hardcore in the last 25 years.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, New York is, and I fucking tip my hat to them. And I'm a Boston guy, but I mean, but New York's got it, hands down. I mean, we got a ton of great bands in Boston. Don't get me wrong, but New York, I mean, is changing the entire fucking game. You get bands, like Glassjaw and the fucking Dillinger Escape Plan, like coming out of the same fucking area from 25 miles apart, less than, hundreds of other bands coming all through.
Yeah. Billy Club Sandwich, tons of bands. It started here, man. The Ramones.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's all the older stuff that started there, and then like the different parts of the city, like Glassjaw. All those bands kind of came out from Long Island, and like came into the city play, and then you have the bands that are like, all those bands who started within like the 10 square blocks of the Lower East Side, of like all like Agnostic Front, Madball, Citadels from Queens, but it's like all the shows going downtown in like back in the day, and then all those bands that are still playing, you can still go see. Like Dave and I figured this out that we were at like all these same shows before I joined Enziguri, because they'd be talking about like, oh, remember the Sick of It All 30th anniversary show? I'm like, I was there too. I remember this show. Yeah, I was at that one too. It's like we were just hanging out together, but not together yet. And then
Cooked.
It's just amazing how small that community is, and then you realize it, and you now at this point you get to look back and you're like seeing all those bands are starting up, and some of them are some of the biggest names in metal and hardcore right now and in punk.
Totally.
And it's awesome to see that evolution, and it's almost humbling. You're like, shit, man, I remember the beginning of this. I remember when it started off, and I remember seeing these guys as an opener. Now look at them, and it's insane. It's
also humbling as people because like a lot of these bands still live around New York City. Like guys have moved, but so I remember this one story I laughed. Davey was downtown and he told me, he's like, yeah, I was going to get food at this like really amazing vegan spot in the Lower East Side. And John Joseph from the Cro-Mags Blood Clot was there. And he's just like, oh, what's up, man? He's like, hey, what's up? And he's just like, yo, you want to have the sandwich? He's like, I'm going to sit down and have lunch with John Joseph. He's like,
just sit at the table and listen to John Joseph talk about life and shit while he's enjoying dinner. It was, it's awesome. That was a super surreal experience.
And only in New York, man. Only in New York.
Yeah. I literally just popped my head in to pick up an order of food, and he was sitting there eating.
Every time I go to New York, it's fucking magical. I love that city so much, man.
Yeah, you're always welcome, man. When shows open back up, you should come down.
Oh, I'd love, dude.
We'll
I'll be down there with my cameras and I'll come film you guys live. It'd be an absolute blast.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, we got to get it going.
So speaking of live shows, I'm going to switch this one over to Dave for a second. You guys have been playing, in metal and punk bands, we play pretty much wherever. What's, from house shows to fucking backyards to rooftops to fucking basements. What's some of the stranger happenings stranger occurrences that happen at one of your guys' show over the years?
The stranger occurrences. Okay, I have a couple in mind. When we were playing Alfie's once, a friend of ours was super yipped up and acted a fool and squeezing my ass too hard while we were playing the set and everything, and then got up. My boy pantsed him. He had peed his pants. It was one of the crazier nights, I think. I mean, it ended in a fight. That's why I don't really, I don't look back fondly on that, but that was a crazy show, a crazy experience. Trying to think. My boy Paul Grant used to host basement shows over by Fordham in the Bronx, and I went one night and I think I had a 22 in my back pocket, and the pit got so live that I ended up getting tossed. I got up, I was like, nobody touch me. I was like, there's just shards of broken glass hanging out in my pants, and I needed to get to a bathroom and just fucking delouse myself with all the glass.
Oh my God, it's pulling glass out of your ass.
I legitimately, I think I dropped the drawers and I was like, Paul, give me a pair of basketball shorts because
that's amazing.
I can't.
Oh my God. What about you, Matt? Anything out of the ordinary stand out over the years of playing shows?
I was gonna say in Enziguri, definitely that show the Bronx Davey brought up, because that dude was just wilding. He actually ended up, he was stomping on another band's merch.
Oh yeah, he was kicking the last stand. There was vinyls and shit. I was just
there was a bar. There's a bar that runs the middle of the bar, so when people are there, you can just lean against it and put your drink down. And the bands had their merch, and our buddy's band, The Last Stand, had vinyl pressed, and he just came marching down and just stomping on it. And the dudes from The Last Stand are just looking what? What do we do? What? And you kind of just had to stand there and be like, hey, listen, if you do something, this place is going to turn to a brawl. And then luckily, it got diffused after a bit of a fight. All right, get out, relax. I don't know, man. I've always been really good at trying to zig and zag my way out of trouble. I've always been a pretty mellow guy, so even playing or going to shows.
Matt's a talker. Matt's a diffuser.
Yeah, guys, sometimes a fight is inevitable, but I've never put myself in those situations just because, even going to these shows, I'm not a tough guy, and I also
flow like a clown.
Yeah, it's just
you think you and I are cut from the same cloth. I will be if I have to be. I'm a fucking sweetheart.
Yeah, but just I don't need any of this. I don't want to go home with less teeth than I showed up with today.
I don't need it, but I won't stand for it. That's
right. Well, that's another thing
you know
too.
What I mean, I'm not there's a degree to which it's not trying to diffuse if someone's being a complete asshole. Like sometimes you got to toss somebody.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're right. You know, 'cause especially if I see like people wall working and they hit a woman, and I'm like, come on, dude. Like,
No,
you're a
100%.
kid.
That's
You're like, I'm like, you know, it's one thing you're on the floor, everybody's throwing down. That's one thing, you know, everybody's equal in that regard. But if you're going
Right.
specifically and just pinpointing, that's the shit
Beating
that sets
on.
me over the line. That's the
Totally.
stuff I'm like, here, you know, take this for a second, take these out. I'll be right back. I had to, oh God, I gotta go teach some kid a lesson for a second. I hate doing that. It's been a long time since I've had to, but like, if you got to, you got to do it.
That's the thing, man. Like I look at it like we had older guys had a code that they taught us, and it's our, you know, it's our duty to go forward and teach younger people, like man, woman, whatever, that come into the scene, how to act and how to, you know, treat people.
Exactly.
There's like
is unspoken rules of a show. Absolutely. You know,
of a show, and just like of like an ethos of like punk rock. To me, at least, you know, it was always kind of like no hate, no sexism, no racism, no xenophobia. Like, you know, like it's just kind of like generally accepted. That's how it is.
And
that's
you're
how
right.
we are.
And I love like all the, you know, a lot of the memes that are going around. It's like, the punkest thing you could do is being nice as fuck. Because it's true. You know, like one of the punkest fucking things you can do in the world is just being nice. Everybody's being such a fucking cunt lately. You know?
And, you know, generally, like, look, if you want something like defunding the police, guess what? You're going to have to learn how to act accordingly to each other. You're going to have to learn how to react in a civil manner and deal with each other.
Like, I agree. You know? I completely agree. As Jim Jeffries says, we live in a society, there are fucking rules. Love Jim Jeffries. But you're absolutely right. You know, there's absolutely an ethos to it, you know, no racism, you know, no sexism, no xenophobia. Everybody is equal, you know, and treat each other well. And if you come and try to, you know, disrespect the family and try to impede on that, then you'll be taught a lesson. You know, hopefully we can try to resolve it with words first. If not, then, well, that's the way life goes sometimes.
Yeah, we'll crush it.
So, what are you guys doing in the meantime with Enziguri? When are you guys getting back to the studio and start working on stuff?
Walter just got back to the U.S.
That's what you were saying,
he's self-quarantining for 2 weeks. And hold on one second. Yo, I'll hit you up, man.
Let me know, dude.
Yeah.
It's the popular over here.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, so he's quarantining for 2 weeks, and then after that, I think we're gonna try to meet up with him. He said there's a park by him. We're gonna try to go see what's up, and then maybe eventually get back to work. See if we could dig Julio up and, you know, move forward. We got Kevin playing back with us for the 5-year anniversary, which is cool. Kevin Lugo, welcome back. But yeah, I mean, I think the plan is to, you know, try to pick up where try. Yeah. I mean, we've been putting out the little pre-recorded mixed videos and that Walter put together. But other than that, you know, I think we're all aching to get back in the same room and start practicing, get show ready whenever that may be.
Perfect.
And I think we're going to try to do shout out to the Fox and King night sessions they've been doing. I think we're going to try to set something up with that. You know, we're out here.
Yeah, and that's all we can do is just try to do it one day at a time, you know?
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. And we just got to, you know, play it as safe as you can, you know, make sure that everybody maintains. So before we part ways, one question I like to ask every artist.
Yes. I like that you call us an artist. You can ask me anything.
Oh. Can you paint me like one of your French girls?
Can you paint me? Can you paint me like one of your French girls?
Yeah.
Now in pretty much in most communities, the collab is huge. The collaboration, you know, pulling in, getting different people doing different shit on an album. You guys had the chance to pull anybody in. Anybody, doesn't matter. Anybody currently in the game, doesn't matter the genre. Who'd you want to pull in for an unlikely collaboration? For Enziguri, or even yourself?
Do you, like, for an unlikely
or even just any collaboration? You can do an unlikely or even a likely.
So, do you want, like, one definitive answer, or can I give you
a couple. I don't give a shit. You can give me your top 7 if you want it. I don't care.
Okay. I'm gonna give you. I would love to do an Enziguri collaboration with KRS-One. That's just like that's been like a dream of mine ever since the Sick of It All record. I would love to do a collabo with Lily Allen, the British pop singer, just because I really like that first record she put out when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I think I would love to have like either Civ or Walter Scheifels from Gorilla Biscuit sing on anything, even if they just wanted to shout or say something, you know. That would be my top 3 collaborations.
That is a fucking heady list, dude. That's good.
I did not see Lily Allen coming. That's a curveball.
No, dude, that. Wow. Shit,
she had like that funky ska.
Eclectic as fuck, dude. Shit. What about you, Matt?
I don't know. That's a pretty good list. Yeah, I don't know. I think it'd be fun just to do something with like any of just like the guys that we kind of look up to. Like we recorded, I think I finally recorded the newest EP. That's the only thing I've recorded on with Enziguri. But we actually recorded in the studio with the Jerry Farley, who recorded the last, like, I think 3 Sick of It All albums.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool that, like, we have that connection now. So it's one of those, like, oh, maybe one day we can get, like, Lou from Sick of It All to, like, do a little something with us. Or just, like...
That would be, like, a dream come true for me.
Just, like, any of the bands you grow up listening to, and they would be like, hey, man, like, if you can make the connection, we'd love to have them come in and do something. Because, I mean, a lot of those guys have been on stuff where it's like, oh, yeah, sure, I can get down there for the day. And it's just one of those things of more like you get to work with the person regardless of what they do. Yep. Like you said, like Walter or Civ was like, they come in and yell a chorus and they're out of there in like half an hour. It's like, oh, look, like we got to work with this person and do it. And I would say, like, as far as my instrument goes, Enziguri could do a whole album with Hoya Rock from Madball. I can just sit back and relax. Be like, yo, you got the bass lines, my man. I'm just going to relax and chill out for a little bit.
Yo, we should see if he's interested. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Like, Hoya, if you're out there, I like being lazy, so.
That's awesome. And that's honestly, and I say it all the time, it's if this could actually happen, if any of these artists could link up, it'd be a fucking dream, Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You put out into the world and they say no. I mean, big deal. You keep moving on the next day,
Yeah. They probably say no
in any way. And if it does happen, then fucking wham bam, dream come true.
Yeah.
Right.
Which would be awesome. I'm waiting for, that mixtape collaboration track to be like, hey, it finally happened.
Yeah.
So before we part ways, where can we find your music online?
So on Instagram, we are Enziguri NYC. And on Facebook, we are facebook.com/Enziguri Punks, PUNX. And I think Enziguri NYC at bandcamp.com.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah, everything's on Bandcamp.
Awesome. That was like autopilot. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, everything we've done is on Bandcamp. I mean, we have, and like we were talking, like Dave was saying, we wanted to press the original EP they did for the 5-year anniversary, and then the world fell apart. So maybe some, but now that we're all sitting home and kind of, like you were saying earlier, we're not really spending money. So this is a good time to get stuff together, and maybe once shows come back, we'll try to get some vinyl, because it's actually made a comeback and people are into vinyl.
Oh, absolutely. The vinyl and cassette industry is coming back big right now. I mean, vinyl's always been a big, but the cassette is coming back as well, too.
Yo, I see that everywhere, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what? Why? Why do I want? I know.
They like that tone. So before this kicks out here, my guests tonight have been Matt and Dave of Enziguri. Real quick, any final thoughts before we part ways?
I hope to see you all very soon, and we can play shows.
Sorry about that. I got disconnected.
I'm starting to lose my mind.
Any final words before we head out, Dave?
From me, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for having us. Check it out. Bronx Zoo EP by Enziguri. That's the latest thing we got out there. Hope to see you guys soon.
Hey, awesome. Thank you both so much.
Thank
We
you,
got
man.
Matt,
This was
We
awesome.
got Dave. We got Enziguri, New York City hardcore punks coming in. We're